Have you ever stopped to think that the year you were born wasn't random? That even the last digit of that number carries a deep mark of your essence, your choices from past lives, and the lessons you're meant to learn in this lifetime? According to ancient Buddhist teachings, the last digit of your birth year represents a specific type of karmic energy, a direct reflection of your spiritual past. And understanding this one small number can quietly change the way you see yourself, your struggles, your gifts, and the entire path of your life. Now, let me be clear about something right away, because it matters. We're not talking about cheap horoscopes here, or the kind of generic numerology you scroll past on the internet. This is about ancient wisdom, passed down through generations of monks who saw life as a continuous cycle of learning, death, and rebirth. For them, nothing about your arrival in this world was an accident. The family you were born into, the body you received, the era you landed in, and yes, even the year itself, all of it was seen as the direct result of a long journey your soul had already been walking, lifetimes before you ever opened your eyes here. You may not remember your past, almost no one does, but according to these teachings, your past remembers you. It left clues, quiet fingerprints pressed into your personality, your recurring challenges, the pains you can't quite explain, the talents that came to you too easily to be coincidence. And one of those clues, perhaps the simplest and most overlooked of all, is sitting right there in the last digit of your birth year. If your year ends in a 7, your path is not the path of someone whose year ends in a 2. If it ends in a 0, your soul is at a completely different point in its journey than a soul marked by the 9. In this video, you're going to discover what each number from 0 to 9 reveals about your karmic footprint. Some people were born to heal, others were born to lead. Some are quietly paying off old debts from lives long gone, while others are beginning a brand new cycle with more lightness than they realize. And as you listen to your number, I want you to pay close attention to something, that little shiver of recognition, that moment where you think, wait, how does he know that about me? Because that feeling, according to the monks, is not a trick. It's an ancient part of you, waking up. But before we dive in, do me one small kindness. Give this video a like, because it genuinely helps this content reach more people who are searching for themselves, exactly like you are right now. Subscribe to the channel because every week I bring deep teachings and spiritual reflections that might resonate with your journey. And drop a comment below telling me what city and state you're watching from, how old you are, and, once you discover it, what your number is. I love seeing how far this energy reaches, and reading your stories is the best part of all of this. Now, take a deep breath. Really, take one. Connect, because what you're about to hear might change how you see who you really are. Before I reveal the meaning of each number, there's something essential you need to understand, because without it, the numbers are just numbers. In the older Buddhist traditions, those tied to Tibet, India, and Thailand, life doesn't begin at birth, and it doesn't end at death. Life is a flow, a continuous journey in which the spirit passes through cycle after cycle of learning. Each rebirth carries the marks of what came before, the way a river carries the minerals of every mountain it has ever touched. Nothing is random, not your face, not your fears, not your gifts, and not your year. The wisest monks were above all observers. They watched people the way astronomers watch stars, and over centuries they noticed patterns. Certain souls arrived with a natural ease for silence and contemplation. Others arrived restless, burning, unable to sit still, as if they'd been interrupted in the middle of something important. Some carried talents no one had taught them. Others carried pains, fears, and griefs that nothing in this life could explain. And in many of these traditions, small details, like the final digit of the birth year, were read as starting points, clues to understanding the road that soul had already traveled and what it had come back to heal. So understand this. What you're about to hear isn't just entertainment. It's a tool for reconnection. When you find your number, you're not just hearing a fun fact about yourself. You're looking backward at lives that are gone, at old karmas that may still be quietly active in your patterns, and at spiritual gifts that may be sleeping inside you, waiting for permission to wake up. Your number is a symbol, a code, a whisper from your soul's long journey. So from this moment on, listen differently. Listen with an open heart. And let's begin with the number 0. If your birth year ends in 0, listen closely, because your soul is standing in one of the most mysterious positions of the entire cycle. In these teachings, the 0 represents the beginning and the end at the same time. It is the fertile void, the sacred empty space where everything is born and everything eventually returns. For the Tibetan monks, the 0 is the mark of a soul that is restarting, beginning a fresh spiritual journey after one or more lifetimes that were intense, heavy, marked by deep suffering, painful ruptures, or profound loss. Your soul, quite literally, asked for a new page. And now let me describe what this actually looks like in your daily life. And I want you to notice if you recognize yourself. You've probably felt your whole life like you don't quite fit anywhere. Not in a dramatic way, just a quiet, persistent sense of being slightly outside of things, watching life like someone who arrived in the middle of a movie everyone else has been watching from the start. People around you seem so certain about who they are and what they want, and you've often wondered why that certainty never fully arrived for you. You've reinvented yourself more times than you can count. Different phases, different styles, different dreams, almost like you've lived several small lives inside this one. And here's the part that might give you chills. You have an unexplainable relationship with beginnings. Fresh starts call to you. New notebooks, new cities, new mornings, the feeling of wiping the slate clean, it soothes something deep in you that you've never been able to name. At the same time, you carry a strange, quiet exhaustion that doesn't always match your actual life, as if some part of you arrived here already tired. According to these teachings, that tiredness isn't from this life. It's the residue of the lives that came before, the very ones your soul chose to leave behind and begin again. The 0 also explains something about your emotions. You feel things in waves, sometimes emptiness, sometimes fullness. And you may have periods where you feel disconnected, floating, as if waiting for your real life to begin. Please hear this. That is not brokenness. In this tradition, the void of the 0 is not absence. It is potential. It is the silence before the first note of a song. You weren't sent back to repeat anything. You were sent back to choose freshly. With the slate wiped cleaner than almost anyone around you. Old debts were settled. Old chains were released. You are freer than you feel. So what is the soul of the 0 here to learn? Presence and self-compassion. Your challenge is to stop searching for who you should be and allow yourself to simply begin, small, honest, today. Every tiny new beginning you embrace, a new habit, a mended relationship, a quiet morning ritual, is your soul doing exactly what it came here to do. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to everyone else's chapter 20. You are the blank page, and in these teachings, the blank page is holy. And if the 0 is the soul that begins again, wait until you hear about the number 1, because the 1 is the soul that goes first and pays the price for it. If your birth year ends in 1, your soul carries the spark of the pioneer, the initiator, the one who moves first while everyone else hesitates. In these teachings, the number 1 is the energy of transformative action. Souls marked by the 1 are believed to have spent past lives preparing, learning, or following others, and now, in this life, the cycle has turned. It's your turn to lead, to open paths, to begin things that didn't exist before. But with this beautiful mission comes a very specific weight, and you know it intimately. The world is rarely ready for those who go first. Let me tell you what your life has probably looked like, and see if this lands. Since childhood, you've felt different. Not better, not worse, just somehow apart. like you see possibilities other people don't see yet. When you share your ideas, you've often been met with doubt, criticism, or that dismissive little laugh that stings more than people know. You've heard that won't work more times than you can count, sometimes right before it worked. You have a fire in you that refuses to go out. But here's your secret. The one most people never guess. Behind your strength, you doubt yourself constantly. You question your worth in silence while looking confident out loud. And there's something else. You've often felt profoundly alone, even in rooms full of people, even surrounded by family. Not because no one loves you, but because so few people truly understand what drives you. You carry the loneliness of the frontrunner, the specific solitude of someone who walks ahead. Relationships can be complicated for you because you unconsciously test whether people can keep up, and you've learned painfully that many can't or won't. Some have envied you, some have tried to shrink you, and every time you were rejected for being too much. A small voice inside asked if you should make yourself smaller. Sound familiar? Please hear what this tradition says to you. Do not shrink. The resistance you face is not proof that you're wrong. It is the natural friction of a soul that came to move things, and things that move create wind. Your karma is not to be punished by the resistance. Your karma is to learn to keep walking through it without hardening your heart and without needing everyone's applause to validate your steps. The one who goes first plants trees whose shade they may never sit in. That is your kind of greatness, and it was never meant to be comfortable. So what is the soul of the one here to learn? To lead with love instead of armor. To act without waiting for permission, but also without carrying resentment for those who doubted. To understand that your worth was never up for a vote. Start the thing. Say the idea out loud. Take the first step your soul has been pushing you toward. You know exactly which one I mean. And if the one is the soul that walks ahead. The number 2 is almost its mirror opposite. The soul that came back to repair what was broken between hearts. If your birth year ends in 2, your soul carries one of the most tender and most misunderstood karmas of all, the karma of reconciliation. According to these teachings, souls marked by the 2 lived past lives deeply wounded in the territory of relationships, lives touched by abandonment, betrayal, separation, or love that was lost too soon. And so, in this life, your soul returned with a mission written into its very fabric to restore bonds, to heal connection, including, and this is the part you always forget, the connection with your own heart. Now let me describe your life, and I want you to be honest with yourself as you listen. You are the peacemaker. In your family, in your friendships, at work, you're the one who smooths things over, who senses tension in a room the moment you walk in, who physically feels it in your body when people around you are fighting. You've spent your whole life mediating, calming, fixing, translating one person's anger to another person's hurt. People come to you to vent, to cry, to confess. You know everyone's secrets, and yet how often does anyone ask how you are doing? How often do you answer I'm fine when you're not, because you don't want to burden anyone? And here's the pattern that might sting to hear. You attract broken people. Wounded souls find you the way rivers find the sea. Friends in crisis, partners with heavy pasts, people who need saving. And you give, and you give, and you give, often far beyond what is given back. You've stayed in relationships longer than you should have, because leaving felt like abandoning someone. You've forgiven things that maybe shouldn't have been forgiven so easily. You feel guilty when you say no. You feel selfish when you rest. Your love is enormous, but somewhere along the way, you learn to love others by leaving yourself for last. Am I describing your life? Here is what this tradition wants you to understand, and it's beautiful. Your soul didn't come back to lose itself in love again. It came back to learn to love without disappearing. The lesson of the 2 is not sacrifice, it's balance. Harmony that costs you your own peace is not harmony It's a quiet repetition of the very wound you came here to heal. When you set a boundary, you are not abandoning anyone. When you rest, you are not failing anyone. When you finally let yourself receive help, receive care, receive love, you are completing the circle your soul has been trying to close for lifetimes. So what is the soul of the two here to learn? That you belong on your own list of people to take care of. Practice one small thing this week, let someone do something for you, and don't apologize for it. Answer honestly when someone asks how you are. Your gift for connection is real and rare, and the world needs it. But the first reconciliation your soul came here to make is with yourself. And from the healer of bonds, we move to a completely different fire. The number 3, the soul that came back to finally speak. If your birth year ends in 3, your soul returned with one of the most luminous missions there is, to express what was once silenced. According to these teachings, souls marked by the 3 carry the memory of lifetimes where their voice was taken, lives where they couldn't speak their truth, couldn't create, couldn't shine, whether by force, by fear, or by circumstance. And so in this life, the 3 came back carrying an almost physical need to express, to turn emotion into words, pain into art, feeling into something the world can see and touch. You came to shine, even when you have to fight your own shadow to do it. Let me paint your portrait, and you tell me if it's accurate. You have a natural magnetism you don't fully understand. People are drawn to your words, your humor, your presence, the way you tell a story. You can light up a room, make people laugh until they cry, say the thing everyone was feeling but no one could phrase. Creativity runs through you like blood. Maybe it's writing, singing, cooking, decorating, teaching, or just the art of conversation. But something in you needs to create the way lungs need air. When you go too long without expressing yourself, you feel it in your body. A restlessness, a heaviness, almost a sadness with no name. But here's your hidden side, the one behind the light. For all your brightness in public, you swallow things in private. There are words you've been carrying for years, things you never said to certain people, truths you rehearse in the shower and never deliver. You often feel misunderstood, like people love your shine but don't see your depth. Sometimes you use humor as armor, making everyone laugh so no one asks the real questions. And there's a critic that lives in your head, a voice that says your creations aren't good enough, that you're too much or not enough, and it has talked you out of sharing things the world genuinely needed. How many things have you almost said, almost written, almost created? Hear what this tradition says. Every time you silence yourself now, you repeat the old karma. Every time you express your truth, even trembling, you heal it. The shadow of the 3 isn't failure, it's silence. Your soul isn't asking you to be famous, it's asking you to be honest, out loud. The message you keep postponing, the creative thing you keep almost starting, the conversation you keep rehearsing, these are not random anxieties. They are your soul's unfinished sentences, and this is the lifetime where they finally get spoken. So what is the soul of the 3 here to learn? That your voice is not a luxury, it's your mission. Say the true thing, kindly but fully. Make the thing, even if it's imperfect. Sing badly, write clumsily, create anyway, because expression for you is not a hobby. It is medicine, both for you and for people you'll never even meet. And from the soul that came to speak, we turn to the number 4, the soul that came to build, and to finally learn that it's allowed to rest. If your birth year ends in 4, your soul carries the karma of the builder, and I want to talk to you gently, because you are the one who is hardest on yourself. In these teachings, the 4 is the number of spiritual discipline, and souls marked by it are believed to have known lifetimes of instability, chaos, scarcity, or collapse, lives where everything fell apart, where nothing could be counted on. And so your soul returned with a deep, almost cellular need for solidity. You came to build what lasts: families, homes, careers, foundations. You are the rock. But listen, The 4 is strong, yet it is not made of iron. And behind your strength is a heart quietly longing for lightness, rest, and recognition. Let me describe your life and be honest about whether this is you. You are the responsible one. You always have been, maybe since childhood, maybe since before it was fair for you to be. People lean on you, family, coworkers, friends. When something needs to be done right, they call you. You keep your word even when it costs you. You notice details no one else notices. You plan for problems no one else anticipates. And you quietly fix things before anyone knows they were broken. And almost no one thanks you, because your competence made it all look easy. Tell me, how long has it been since someone asked if you are tired? Because you are tired, aren't you? There's a specific exhaustion that lives in you, the exhaustion of the person who can't allow themselves to stop. When you rest, you feel guilty. When you delegate, you redo it. When something goes wrong, even something outside your control, a harsh voice inside blames you first. You are your own most brutal judge. Perfectionism follows you like a shadow. The feeling that you must earn your place every day through effort, that if you ever stop producing, stop holding everything up, you might stop mattering. And deep down, there's a fear you barely admit, the fear that everything you built could collapse if you loosen your grip for even a moment. Here is what this tradition wants you to hear, and please really hear it. Discipline is not rigidity. True discipline is consistency with wisdom, and wisdom includes rest. The monks taught that the 4's great lesson is learning that its worth is not its productivity. You were valuable before you built anything, and you will remain valuable if it all falls down. The stability your soul truly came seeking was never just the house, the savings, the career. It was inner stability, the unshakable knowledge that you are enough, even sitting still, even doing nothing, even imperfect. So what is the soul of the 4 here to learn? To put down the weight, on purpose, a little at a time. Rest without earning it first. Let someone else do it imperfectly. Celebrate what you've built instead of only inspecting it for flaws. Your foundations are real, and they are stronger than your fear says they are. You can loosen your grip, the walls will hold. And from the soul that builds foundations, we leap to its complete opposite, the number 5, the soul that was born with wind in its blood. If your birth year ends in 5, your soul carries the element of air, free, quick, instinctive, made for movement and expansion. According to these teachings, souls marked by the 5 spent past lives confined by walls, by rules, by duties, by circumstances that clipped their wings, lifetimes where they could not choose their own road. And so this time, your soul came back, starving for freedom. The 5 wants to live many lives inside this one. And that, my friend, is both your greatest gift and your beautiful chaos. Let me describe you and check how many of these land. Routine suffocates you. Physically, a repetitive job, the same 4 walls, the same week on repeat. After a while, you feel something like an itch in your soul, an urge to break something open, to go somewhere, to change anything. You crave newness the way others crave comfort, new places, new people, new ideas, new projects. You learn fast, adapt faster, and you're brilliant at beginnings. But here's your pattern, the one that makes you feel guilty at 3 in the morning, you struggle to finish. You've started courses, projects, diets, businesses, hobbies, and abandoned them mid-flight when the spark faded. And every unfinished thing left a little sediment of self-doubt. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just stick to things like everyone else? And there's more, isn't there? Commitment in all its forms makes something in you flinch, not because you don't love deeply, you do, but because a part of you fears that saying yes to one thing means dying to all the others. You've been called restless, unstable, scattered, immature even, by people who don't understand that your engine simply runs at a different speed. Sometimes you envy settled people their peace. What you don't see is how often they envy you your courage. But left unexamined, the five's freedom becomes escape. Escaping boredom, escaping discomfort, escaping the very depths that would transform you, always moving so nothing can ever quite touch you. Here is what this tradition wants you to understand. Your freedom is sacred, and it was never the problem. The lesson of the five is not to become tame. It is to discover that true freedom is not the absence of ties. It is the power to choose your ties and stay by choice. There is a depth of experience in love, in mastery, in purpose that only opens after the initial spark fades, on the other side of the moment where you usually leave. Your soul came back not to escape walls this time, but to learn that roots and wings are not enemies. A tree with roots dances in the wind, it doesn't get blown away by it. So what is the soul of the five here to learn? Chosen commitment. Pick one thing, just one. A project, a practice, a person, a promise, and stay past the point where you usually run. Watch what happens on the other side of that threshold. That's where your next level of freedom lives. Movement is your nature, direction is your mission. And from the soul with wind in its blood, we come to one of the deepest hearts in the entire cycle, the number 6, the soul that came back to restore love itself. If your birth year ends in 6, I want you to listen with your heart, because your number carries one of the most beautiful and heaviest missions of all. According to these teachings, souls marked by the 6 return with the purpose of restoring love in the world, beginning with those closest to them. But this mission was not given to a light soul. It was given to you precisely because your soul is dense with emotional memory, past lives marked by deep losses, abandonments, betrayals, grief that was never fully lived. You know love's price better than almost anyone, and still, you chose to come back and love again. That is not weakness. That is the courage of the 6. Now let me describe your life. Family, in the widest sense, is the center of your world. Whether it's the family you were born into, the one you built, or the people you've gathered and made into family. You are the caretaker, the one who remembers birthdays, who notices when someone's voice sounds off on the phone, who keeps the peace at gatherings, who worries at night about people who have no idea they're being worried about. Your home matters to you deeply. You need it to be a refuge, warm, safe, yours. And when the people you love are hurting, you hurt physically, as if their pain happens inside your own chest. But here's your shadow, and I say it with tenderness. You give to the point of self-abandonment. You take responsibility for other people's happiness and quietly blame yourself when they struggle. You've sacrificed things, dreams, rest, pieces of yourself, and sometimes, in your most honest moments, you feel a flicker of resentment, followed immediately by guilt for feeling it. You fear being a burden, so you hide your own needs. You fear loss so deeply because your soul remembers loss that you sometimes hold too tight, control too much, or stay braced for tragedies that never come. And forgiveness, especially forgiving yourself, does not come easy in your house. Hear what this tradition says to you. You were never meant to carry everyone. The 6's lesson is that real love includes yourself, that care without self-care curdles into exhaustion and resentment, and that protecting the people you love does not require abandoning your own life as the payment. Your soul came back to learn love in its complete form, giving and receiving, holding and releasing, caring and trusting. The people you love do not need your sacrifice as proof. They need your presence, and your presence is at its most luminous when you are also whole. So what is the soul of the 6 here to learn? To come off the altar. Let people love you back, actively, and let them see your needs. Say what you need out loud this week to someone you trust. It will feel strange, and it will be holy. Release one worry that was never yours to carry. Your love is a gift to this world, and it will only grow when you finally include yourself among the people who deserve it. And from the great heart of the six, we climb toward the mountains to the number 7, the soul of the eternal seeker. If your birth year ends in 7, your soul carries the mark of the seeker. And this may explain your entire life in one stroke. According to these teachings, souls with the 7 often carry memories of lifetimes devoted to the sacred, lives as monks, healers, hermits, scholars, keepers of temples and questions, lives spent in mountains, in monasteries, in ancient schools, searching for truth. And in this life, you returned with that same thirst, a hunger for meaning that ordinary things simply cannot satisfy. While others chase possessions and status, you have always been chasing something harder to name: understanding, depth, the thread that connects everything. Let me describe you. You've felt different since childhood, older inside than your age, asking questions the adults around you couldn't answer. Why are we here? What happens after? Why do people suffer? You need to understand things at their root. Surface explanations physically bother you. You're drawn to books, documentaries, philosophies, spiritualities, psychologies, anything that promises to take you deeper. Small talk drains you within minutes, but one real conversation at 2 in the morning can feed you for a week. You see through people, their masks, their motives, their pain behind the performance, and sometimes you wish you couldn't, because seeing so much is a lonely gift. And you are alone a lot, aren't you? Or more precisely, you're rarely lonely when alone, and often lonely in crowds. Solitude is your natural habitat, where you think, recharge, and touch something deeper. But it has a cost. People find you distant, hard to read, too intense, too serious. You've learned to hide your depth to make others comfortable. In love, you struggle to find someone who meets you at your level, someone you don't have to translate yourself for. And there's a shadow here too. The mind that seeks can become the mind that hides. Endless analysis instead of living. Understanding feelings instead of feeling them. Reading about life instead of touching it. The Tower of the 7 can quietly become its prison. Hear what this tradition wants you to know. Your depth is not a defect. It is your inheritance. The 7's lesson in this lifetime is integration, bringing the mountain into the marketplace. Wisdom that never comes down from the tower helps no one, not even you. Your soul didn't return to hide and study. It returned to embody what it knows, to let understanding become warmth, presence, connection. The final answer you're seeking, the monks would smile at this, isn't in the next book. It's in the moment you close the book and let yourself be fully here, fully human, fully touched by this ordinary, sacred life. So what is the soul of the 7 here to learn? To live its wisdom, not just collect it. Share what you know with someone this week, simply, kindly, without the lecture. Let one person see the real you, undiluted. Feel one feeling all the way through instead of analyzing it. The world doesn't need you to have every answer. It needs your presence, which is deeper than any answer. And from the seeker of truth, we turn to a soul the world often misreads entirely. The number 8, the soul that came to master the material world without being owned by it. If your birth year ends in 8, your soul carries one of the most misunderstood karmas of the cycle, the karma of power and manifestation. According to these teachings, souls marked by the 8 are the ones who know how to turn ideas into reality. Focus, resilience, courage, ambition, these came installed in you. Some traditions say the 8 lived past lives on both extremes, lifetimes of poverty and helplessness, and lifetimes of power that was perhaps misused. And so this life is the great balancing. You return to learn right relationship with power, money, success, and control to build greatly without losing your soul in the building. Let me describe you. You are driven in a way most people around you simply are not. Where others see problems, you see plans. You think in goals, strategies, next steps. You want to grow, achieve, prosper, and you're willing to work for it harder than anyone. People experience you as strong, capable, intimidating even, and they bring you their problems to solve, but rarely their tenderness, because you've taught everyone that you don't need it. Results respect you. Obstacles that crush others seem to organize you, and you feel a quiet contempt, admit it, for excuses in others and even more in yourself. But here is your hidden ledger, the one nobody sees. You are hard on yourself in a way that would break most people. Rest feels like falling behind. Vulnerability feels like weakness. Your worth has gotten tangled with your achievements, so every success buys you only a short piece before the next mountain appears, and every setback feels like a verdict on who you are. You may struggle to celebrate, to play, to do anything useless. Relationships can become another domain to manage. And at night, sometimes, a question visits you that no achievement has ever silenced. Is this all there is? I climb and climb, so why does the summit keep moving? Hear what this tradition says to you. Your power is real, and it was never the problem. The eighth lesson is that the most important success is the one that includes your soul. Not everything must be useful. Not everything must produce. The monks taught that true abundance flows through open hands, not clenched fists, that prosperity hoarded or achieved through self-abandonment turns to ash, while prosperity shared, built with integrity, and enjoyed with presence becomes blessing. You didn't return to prove your worth through conquest. You returned to discover that your worth was never on the scoreboard at all. So what is the soul of the eight here to learn? To succeed softly. Celebrate one win, actually celebrate it, without immediately raising the bar. Do one gloriously useless thing this week, purely for joy. Give something away, time, money, credit, and notice how abundance expands instead of shrinking. Let one person see you tired. Your empire is impressive, but your soul came for something greater, to build a life where power and peace live in the same house. And now we arrive at the final number, the 9, the old soul standing at the end of the cycle. If your birth year ends in 9, take a breath, because according to these teachings, yours is the oldest soul in the room. The 9 marks the end of the cycle, the soul that has walked through many, many lifetimes of learning, love, loss, service, and wisdom, and has returned now to complete, to close circles, to release, and to give back. Souls of the 9 are said to have lived through so much that they carry a refined, almost impossible intuition. You know things without knowing how you know them. You feel what people are before they speak. And this gift, if you don't learn to protect it, can become the heaviest thing you carry. Let me describe your life. Strangers tell you their secrets. On buses, in waiting rooms, at parties, people you barely know open their hearts to you within minutes, as if something in them instinctively recognizes that you can hold it. You absorb the emotions of every room you enter. Crowded places can leave you drained for days. You cry at things others find small, sense sadness behind smiles, and sometimes know the phone is going to ring before it rings. You've probably been called too sensitive your whole life by people who have no idea that your sensitivity is not fragility. It is ancient equipment. And your life has been marked by endings, hasn't it? More goodbyes than seems fair, people who left, phases that closed abruptly, chapters that ended before you were ready. It's as if life keeps teaching you, again and again, the art of release. You give generously, sometimes to your own depletion, drawn to the wounded, the lost, the ones nobody else has patience for. And you carry an old, strange nostalgia, a homesickness for something you can't name, a feeling that some part of you is already looking back at this life from a great distance, tender and a little tired. There are days you feel you don't belong to this era at all. Hear what this tradition wants you to know. You are not here to collect anymore. You are here to complete and to bless. The nine's lesson is release without bitterness, giving without disappearing, and compassion that includes yourself. Your task in this lifetime is to close circles cleanly, to forgive the debts others can never repay, to pass on the wisdom your soul spent lifetimes earning through your words, your care, your presence, and to learn, at last. Energetic boundaries, to help from the shore instead of drowning in every sea. Not every cry for help is yours to answer. Even the oldest souls are allowed to rest. So what is the soul of the nine here to learn? Sacred completion. Close one open circle this month. The conversation that needs having, the forgiveness that needs granting, even if only within your own heart. The goodbye that needs saying. Protect your energy like the treasure it is, solitude. For you is not isolation, it's maintenance. And share your wisdom, because it was never meant to end with you. You are the lighthouse at the end of the cycle, and lighthouses don't chase ships. They shine, and the right ones find their way. So there they are, the 10 karmic footprints, 0 through 9, each one a different chapter in the soul's long journey. And maybe you notice something as we walk through them. None of these numbers is better than another. The 0's blank page, the 1's lonely courage, the 2's healing heart, the 3's silenced voice-finding sound, the 4's tired strength, the 5's hungry wings, the 6's boundless love, the 7's deep waters, the 8's balanced power, the 9's ancient light. They are all the same soul at different points of the same great circle. The wheel turns, and every position on it is sacred. And here's the deeper truth behind this entire teaching, the one I most want you to carry out of this video. Whether or not you take the reincarnation literally, the monks were pointing at something undeniably real. You arrived in this life with patterns, with gifts you didn't earn and wounds you didn't choose. And the purpose of a teaching like this was never to put you in a box. It was to hand you a mirror. If hearing your number made something in your chest whisper, "That's me," then the teaching has already done its work. It helped you see yourself. And a person who truly sees their patterns is no longer their prisoner. That, in every tradition on this earth, is the beginning of freedom. One gentle and honest note before we close, because I care about you beyond this screen. These reflections are spiritual and symbolic, offered for self-discovery and inspiration, not as a substitute for professional support. If any part of your journey feels heavier than you can carry, old grief, deep exhaustion, pain that won't lift, please reach out to someone qualified to walk with you, a counselor, a doctor, a trusted guide. Seeking help is not a lack of faith or strength. It is one of the wisest and bravest things a soul can do in any lifetime. So now, I want to hear from you, and I mean it, because this is my favorite part. Go to the comments right now and tell me, what is your number? What's the last digit of your birth year, and how much of what you heard felt like it was written about you? Tell me your city, your state, and your age too, because I love seeing how far this energy travels and who it finds. Read the other comments while you're there. You'll be amazed how many people share your number and your story, and your words might be exactly the confirmation someone else was praying to find today. If this video touched something in you, give it a like. It genuinely helps this reach other souls who are searching. Share it with someone whose number you're now curious about. And subscribe with the bell turned on, because every week we go deeper into teachings like this one. Take a last deep breath with me. Whatever your number, your soul has already walked so far to be here, and it did not come this far by accident. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.